Welcome to Just Ranked, the only place where a Grammy-winning song and a jingle can go head-to-head. This week, we're going to be talking about island songs. We're going to pick up 4 favorite albums that we would have to be deserted on an island with. Now, everyone's got their different choices, right? I approach this a little bit differently this week. We're going to see how everyone approached it. We probably all have different theories, but we have decided for sure it's albums, not songs or artists, so no one's confused this week.
Wait, what?
Check us out on all our socials. Just go to justrankpod.com and you'll find all the links to all of our socials. It's the easiest way to find us. Again, like and subscribe, all that fun, good stuff. But again, this week's topic is island albums. And this week it started with Jimmy.
I'm so excited. This is pretty fun. Hey, real quick, I want to point out we found out recently that we have 3 listeners in Colombia and 1 person in Taiwan. So I really want to thank you so much for enjoying our idiocy. Thank you. We will continue to be idiots for you. So, all right, island albums. This was tough as shit. I had, 25 albums really easily off the top of my head. Yep. Oh, yep. Shit, this is a long list. What am I going to do? So I had to go through and listen to a good chunk of them. Excuse me. And what I did is I went with the whole. Is there every song on this album that I love? Or was there maybe one song? Yeah, the whole. There's one song that I didn't care for, but I could, whatever. It's on an island. You're going to have to listen to something you don't like.
Right.
And I was talking to my wife, and she goes, "It doesn't matter. In 6 months, you're going to hate every one of them fucking songs anyway." So here's my list. I am going to start with number 4. I love this album so much. It is Stevie Wonder. I just drew a blank here. Songs.
In the Key of Life.
Yes, thank you. There's so many great songs in this album. There's such great musicianship on this. It runs a gamut to, sappy love songs, racial tension songs. There's a jazz instrumental called Contusion. It sounds like Yes, if they had funk and like a true R&B feel. It's an amazing song. It's a perfect mix. Sir Duke, a pretty popular song that people know. The horn section is fucking phenomenal in this. One of my top 10 favorite songs ever is I Wish. One of my greatest childhood memories is hanging out with my best friend in South Minneapolis, Derek Turner. He is an amazing rapper. Oh my God, he's amazing. He had this old, big, huge stereo record player with the velvet curtain speaker covers, the 8-track player, and all that phonograph on it. And we used to listen to this album a lot. And this song, it stayed with me my whole life. So Stevie Wonder is just a phenom. There's a really cool song on this called Pastime Paradise, which, if you don't know, is the original for the sample of Gangster Rap Paradise. Coolio, a couple other people sampled this. Isn't She Lovely? That's on this album as well. Just a fucking great album. And it's a double album. That was kind of how I kind of figured out what was going to make the list, because I wanted to have the most amount of music that I could possibly get on this island, deserted island. There's no power on this deserted island, but damn it, I'm going to play my vinyl. Figure it out. A Coconut, Gilligan's Island type shit.
Nice.
Yeah. We'll make a radio with no batteries, and we'll get music from Taiwan and Tokyo. So that's number 4. What do you guys think?
Good pick, man. Solid pick. Again, when you're talking about an album, that's I think an album on everyone's list at some point, because again, it's groundbreaking album for its day, especially.
Yeah,
Go ahead. I'm ignorant on this because I'm not against Stevie Wonder. I listen to his music, but I've never really listened to his albums or something. Just like what I hear on radio, on playlists, on stuff like that. I've never been that big of a fan. So
Oh, if
I will
you're going to dive
I
in,
have to listen to it. I'll be honest. I know.
Yeah.
It
Do it.
is a great album to
think you'd
start
like
off with.
Yeah.
There were let's see, it's 4 big hits on that, which was I Wish, Sir Duke, Pastime Paradise, and Isn't She Lovely. Those are the 4 big mainstream. For the soul charts, Village Ghetto Life, Love's in Need of Love Today were a couple of the soul hits that didn't make the mainstream. So it's a double album, and I think there's 17 songs. They're not really long songs. The longest song on there is that instrumental Contusion, and I think that's 6.5 minutes long. But it's a great starter album. Just amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. Sir Duke's my favorite song by him. I
Love Sir Duke.
Lots of his stuff. Do you guys know the movie that Coolio song's from?
That was the
Dangerous,
school teacher.
Dangerous Minds?
Dangerous Minds.
Yes, Dangerous Minds.
I was gonna say Dangerous
Album
Minds, but when I
Piper.
said it out loud, it sounded like a early 2000s cocktail
Yeah.
or something.
No, it seemed a little too easy or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right. Hot Little Blonde being a badass inner city teacher.
Yeah, great pick though. Great album. Yeah, it's funny because Stevie, I love Stevie, but he wasn't really on my radar for this. But yeah, if you're gonna go with one of his, that's the one to go with, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Stevie Wonder.
I can see what you did there.
Yes. All right. So I guess I'm going to move on to number 3. Number 3 is going to be a single album and actually a shorter album, but one of my favorite albums. It is Rush, Grace Under Pressure.
Wow.
Interesting.
It's their 10th studio album, 1984. Oh, I forgot to say that Stevie Wonder, that was 1976 that came out. The Grace Under Pressure, U.S. Billboard charts peaked at number 10. In America, it was the number 4 best-selling album of that year in Canada. 100 million copies. Geddy's voice on this album is kind of the peak, the pinnacle of when his voice was, before it started to kind of go a little bit. He started changing, pitches and stuff to compensate. His voice was incredible. Neil Peart started playing a different style of drums, more electronically focused. They started doing more overdubs. The whole sound, it's an atmospheric sound. It's a futuristic, not a concept, but most of the songs have a futuristic 1984 Orwellian kind of concept to it. The videos as well. One song on there, my favorite song on there, Enemy Within, had a reggae feel to it. Really nice bounce to it. Every song, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 songs on this album. 7 of them I could play over and over. One is one of those like, okay, that's on, I'll listen to it.
Right.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
I mean, it's interesting. Rush is one of those bands where they have such a vast catalog. Grace Under Pressure is not one of my favorite albums by them, but
Love it.
again, it's one of those albums or one of those bands that you have 15 Rush fans and you'll have 15 different albums picked,
Exactly.
Yep. And they changed producers on this album. Their longtime producer, Terry Brown, just didn't work. So they got a new guy on this one, and they only worked with them on Grace Under Pressure, and that was pretty much that.
That producer was not Bob Rock.
It was not Bob Rock
or Mutt Lang.
Johns. It was not Butch Wagner.
No.
So yeah, that's my number 3.
Good pick.
Yeah, solid.
All right, so we're gonna move on to my number 2, and love this album. Billy Squier, Don't Say No.
Oh, yeah.
Love this album. Love it, love it, love it. I have a nostalgia for it because I got this album for Christmas, and my brother got REO Speedwagon High Infidelity. And the bastard did a switcheroo on me and said, nope, this is the one I got. This is the one I got. So I was stuck with High Infidelity, which is a good album.
Right.
But he stole it. And fuck you, John.
He clearly has not moved on since.
Right. I'm not holding a grudge at
No,
all.
you're over it. You're totally over it.
Right. I also got a Rubik's Cube that year, so it was
Yeah,
great.
nice.
Um,
Take the stickers off.
oh, of course. I
I
learned
couldn't
how
finish
find
it, so I had to
open
move.
the
Yeah,
screwdriver and move it all back
move it
around.
all. Yeah, I couldn't get back together.
Right, throwing pieces around. This album is really cool because it sold 3 million albums. It went to the top 5 of the Billboard 200. It remained on the Billboard 200 for 111 weeks. That's 2
Jesus
years.
Christ.
Yep, Canada, it was number 4.
It's such a good album.
Yep.
I don't know it. My
Oh,
Billy
he's
Squire,
such an underrated artist. I think.
my Billy Squire knowledge is from compilation albums.
I'll name some songs. Everyone knows The Strokes. Stroke me, stroke me. My Kind of Lover.
Awesome.
My kind
That's
of
my
Yeah,
favorite
yeah.
album.
Lonely
Lonely is the Night.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
There is a song on here that has some kind of weird, morbid notes. So the studio that he was recording in was also a studio that John Lennon recorded.
Oh, I know.
in.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, go ahead.
So there's a song called Nobody Knows. It's paying homage to John Lennon. At the moment they were recording the song, 32 blocks away, John Lennon was assassinated.
Wow.
During recording a song about John Lennon.
Wow.
Yeah. It's fucked up, eh?
That's crazy.
Yeah, and we talk about songs we played at our funeral, and this is one of those songs that I really would love to have played at my life party. Yeah, it's this amazing song, amazing album. 3 singles off this album: "Stroke," "In the Dark," and "My Kind of Lover."
In the Dark's my favorite song on that.
In the
album.
Dark's my favorite by him
Love it.
too. Like
In the dark, baby.
Yeah.
in the dark.
Now that you say
Yes,
that,
so good.
absolutely. Now I remember that song.
Yeah, that song is so good.
The Stroke or "Stroke Me." Eminem sampled it twice for 2 different songs: "Berserk" and "Shady 14." It looks like. I don't know the second one. I know the first song. There's been other people that have sampled the song to death. It's a song that wore out on me. That it's probably not my favorite song on the album, but I'm not, at this point in life, I'm not going to turn it off. But in
Right.
1982, it's like, all right, let's hear the Squeeze or the Tubes or something instead of this.
Right.
But yeah, I absolutely adore this album, and I hold it in second place. So to me, the second best album that I could have on this deserted island with no power.
Oh, it's a great pick. Great pick. It was on my very long list. I couldn't get it in.
I had a feeling, or I have a feeling, that Joe may have a Billy Squire album on his list.
Okay, so I was gonna bring it up because it was on my list for a bit, and it's not this album. I was gonna pick Sign of
Signs of the
Life.
Times. Yeah.
Signs of Life.
Signs of Life. Yeah.
Signs
of the Times.
And that song obviously has the infamous "Rock Me
That's,
Tonight."
that's a fair mistake when you're talking about Joe. So
Right. Sorry. Total slip of the tongue there. That one's on there. What are you talking about?
All right. For the record, I have not brought him up, so that doesn't count. That doesn't count.
No, understand, but
I said his name. No, but I love your pick. Like I said, Signs of Life was on my list at one
love
point.
that album too.
I think Signs of Life was my really introduction because my brother had the album, and Billy Squire is one of the first people that I saw play guitar that made me want to play guitar. Ironically enough. Also of note, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Billy Squire's made a lot more money from his songs being sampled than he did from his music career.
Yeah. No shit.
Because he is the second most sampled artist behind Funkadelic, I think.
Crazy, eh?
Yeah, I do celebrate, I would say, his whole catalog. I know there was a newer album that came out fairly recently in the last handful of years. No, it was just 2 single songs. I'm sorry.
Yep,
2 single songs came out. I liked them. I enjoyed them. They're Billy Squire, and I love Billy Squire. But the Don't Say No was actually his second album, his first major breakthrough. Emotions and Motions.
Emotions.
Which sampled the Defender video game. I love that album. I play it quite often. Signs of Life, I play probably second most. I adore that album.
Yeah.
Enough is Enough is another pretty strong album.
Yeah, it's a very good album. Yeah.
But I really, really do love Billy Squier.
Everybody Wants You's off the first one, right?
Emotions, Emotion.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's got just some solid fucking tracks all through his entire catalog, right? Like,
yeah.
And when I think of the Stroke, I think of Billy Madison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's weird because there's so many songs now of that era that when I hear them, now it's like, that's a Billy Madison song.
Right.
Mario Speedwagon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shit.
So, all right. So I guess
Yeah,
on to number one. It is a double album, released in '75. Eddie Kramer was the engineer and producer on this, or was the engineer. Led Zeppelin, Physical Graffiti. Sixth album by Zeppelin. This whole album is bangers. It's probably their most eclectic album.
Yeah, I would say so.
Probably because when they were recording this, the band temporarily broke up. John Paul Jones wanted to quit the band, so Peter Grant said, take a year off and come back and talk to us in a year. They had recorded 8 songs, but to complete the double album, they pulled 7 songs from previously recorded. 5 of those songs were previously recorded for Zeppelin 4. Kashmir was originally called Driving to Kashmir. Andy Johns, I've talked about Andy Johns a lot on this. Huge fan. He is the producer engineer that got that big drum sound from Headley Grange. So they went to Headley Grange again to record this. They used the same exact location for the drum set to get those big vibrant sounds. This is the first time that Jimmy Page is using new technology, new samplers and sequencers, phase shifting devices called phasers. And there was also a flange. I mean, kind of one goes this way with the sine wave, one goes this way, so it gives 2 different sounds. Almost everything was recorded live, meaning they all were playing at the same time being recorded, but there were many overdubs done in the Rolling Stones mobile studio at the time. Yeah. Just the drum sound on this album is just fucking killer.
Yeah, it's amazing. This album was on my short list as well. At one point, I think I alluded to it in chat earlier this week that my top 4 at one point were all double albums.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Get the most of it.
So literally, I approached it in a way. It's like, okay, if I'm going to listen to one album for the rest of my life, it's got to have the most songs on it. And Physical Graffiti is, I mean, it's right behind 4 for me for Zeppelin. So, easy pick.
Yeah, huge fan. I do have 2 honorable mentions on this. Excuse me. I have to get some metal in somehow, some way. My favorite band, as mentioned previously, is Sevendust. Their second album, Animosity, is just their best. It's their coup de grace. Morgan Rose, their drummer, it's his best playing. He puts so much into it. They are a musicians band. They don't get a lot of the credit that they deserve, but every musician on earth, oh my God, you're great. You're great. They're still going strong. I think they're on their 12th album now. So that's that Sevendust, Animosity, and Marvin Gaye, What's Going On.
Oh wow.
It's just the hair just stood up on my arms. I love this album so much. There's so much going on. The musicianship is just killer, and the musicians don't always get the recognition that they deserve. Sorry, a little emotional on this one. They really deserve so much more for this album. I love it. The concept, the tension, the vocal melodies, the bass lines, the drums, everything's fantastic. So I have to stop talking because I got emotional. That's my list.
No,
First of
those
all,
are
I'm
great
impressed.
and great. Before you say anything, but great, like to have Marvin and a metal Marvin and
Yeah,
metal.
yeah,
An honor. That's kind of cool too, right?
that's really cool.
I'm just impressed that Jimmy spoke French.
Well, there's that too.
What did I say? What did I say?
Coup de
He's like,
grace.
coup de grace.
Oh, there we go.
Is that French?
Right.
Français.
So
Yeah.
I guess if you guys don't have anything to add on
Oh, those are great picks. That's a good
my
album.
list, I'm gonna hand it off to Chris. Yeah.
All right. So, really, if I wanted to, I probably could have picked 4 Floyd albums, to be honest with you. In fact, in a pinch, I probably, if you asked me and I didn't have time to think about it, I probably would have picked 3 Floyd albums and throw a dart at the 4th one of my
That was
album.
close.
But when I have time to think about it, my number 4 pick is a band that I don't love. I like some of their stuff. Some of the stuff I'm not a big fan of. They do a lot of alternative, like I can't think of the word right now. It's funny talking, but this album, I remember where I was the first time I heard it. I was on my way to a ball tournament with a friend of mine, and he goes, "I got the CD. You got to listen to it. It's from the guy from At the Drive-In, and it's the Mars Volta deloused in the Chromatorium."
Okay.
Wow.
I just got into them about 6 months ago. They're great.
I listened since I heard this album for the first time. He had a copy of the CD. We listened to it in my Volkswagen Golf on the way to the ball tournament, the way back. I went and bought it either that night or the next day. I don't remember that, but I listened to it honestly once a month, maybe once a week, ever since I first, from start to finish. I listened to it. I like I said, the rest of the stuff the band's done, I'm hit or miss with, but this album, there's something about this album that it just, and I didn't even know really. I knew it was about somebody he knew, but I didn't realize it was based on a short story that Cedric Bixler's Zavala is his name, and his sound manipulation artist Jeremy Ward had written a concept album. That is an hour-long tale of a man who enters a week-long coma after overdosing on a mixture of morphine and rat poison.
Wow.
And it's actually based on the story of a friend of theirs that was an artist in El Paso, Texas, that died of a drug overdose called Julio Venegas, who I do not know anything about. But I didn't know any of that really until I started researching this. I knew that there was a story behind it and that it was, the album's got all these weird dips and dives. It has like parts of prog rock, but then it's got jazz in it, Latin in it, and Latin beats, and it's all over the place. And I also didn't realize that Flea played bass on 8 of the 10 tracks on the album.
Wow.
The original bassist had to step away because her father had passed away. Eva Gardner was her name. And I knew Flea had something to do with the band, but I didn't realize he'd played on 8 of the 10 main tracks on the album.
He's played on a lot of sessions.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. He's amazing. He's an incredible.
So I did a couple of the other things I found interesting about it was in 2014, readers of Rhythm voted it the 9th greatest drumming album in history of prog rock. Album is also included in 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Die. The album included as number 25 in Rolling Stone's top 50 prog rock albums of all time. But it's just one of those albums that I keep going back to, and I listen to the whole thing. And it's, again, like I said, it's kind of weird to me because it's a band that I enjoy some of their stuff, but they're so experimental that some of their stuff I don't get.
Yeah.
But their drumming in this,
I was going to say, amazing.
The drum is off the wall, and it is unreal to me.
She's incredible.
It gives me chills listening to that album, some of the drums.
Well, I was going to, as soon as you brought this up, I was going to mention the drumming. They've had 3 different drummers. Their original drummer, John something, he ended up working with Josh Homme.
Right.
Homie. Yep.
Homie, yeah. And did a bunch of studio tracks with that. But they pull in some of the greatest musicians. The drums, even if you don't like the prog balance of it, because there's kind of they have a Metallica kind of feel, and then they'll have like a new metal feel, and then they'll have prog rock, and then they'll have a soft side, and he has a different style of singing, a throaty kind of nasally
and
voice.
then they have like this wavy synthy underwater kind of fucking feel to it that's just tricky as balls.
And if I remember it, they're Scandinavian, something like that. But yeah, they're just incredible musicians. Pick up any of their albums, please do it if you guys are watching. And if you're a drummer and you've never listened to these guys, you really need to.
Also, I forgot to point out, one of my notes was that Jeremy Ward, who co-wrote the album, actually died from a heroin overdose himself a month before the album was released.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He wasn't using rat poison too, was he?
I don't know. You never know. You never know what's in that, right?
Right.
Yeah, no shit.
I remember you talking about these guys, Chris, because we both.
Well, you're the one that turned me on to At the Drive-In.
Yeah, but I never stayed on it, right? Like it was just one of those flash in the pan for me. Downloaded. Did you hear this? And then you kept on going with them, right? And I moved on to whatever the fuck, dancing. I don't know.
But like I said, I like them. I don't love them. But this album I absolutely love. I just can't get enough of it.
I should, because I love that One Arm Scissor song by At the Drive-In.
Yeah,
I love that song. Like
I just looked it up. I was wrong. They are an American rock band. For some reason, I thought they were Scandinavian.
They're from El Paso, are they not? Or Texas?
I didn't get that far.
Were you watching this Swedish famine relief before we started, or? Raw.
Joey Tempest is the only good singer on that group. Yeah, no, I am a fan of these guys.
That's an interesting and awesome pick, because
yeah, like I said before, I was late to the party on these guys. I mean,
well, and when we originally started to do this, they weren't on the list, but then I started going through albums that I liked, and I'm like, oh no, this has to be on there.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just looked it up.
Rick Rubin, because that's what I was afraid of. Right?
Rick Rubin produced it. Rick Rubin produced it.
That makes sense. All right, guy can produce anything.
Yeah, I did have that in my notes. I forgot to bring that up, but yeah.
They are labeled as, they're from El Paso, but they're labeled as progressive rock, experimental rock, post-hardcore, psychedelic rock, art rock, and jazz fusion.
How about we just call it music? I hate
because I've got also Latin jazz, heavy metal, punk rock, and blues rock also in my descriptor here.
I've seen that so much lately. What is
the only thing they didn't get was pop and country. Everything else they seem to have covered.
Fucking art rock. Like what
is art rock?
This is new to me. Like, and I've seen it a whole bunch, right? Like,
well, and I saw it for these guys too, right? Like,
just lately, I've noticed it. Maybe when I'm hashtagging stuff, like I should put something creative on our socials for a hashtag. And then I look up the artist. It says art rock. I'm like, art rock?
Some fucking prog rock fan was high and watched the art rock documentary and thought, you know what? We should make it art rock.
Yeah, let's do a new one.
But it's only from March of 2001 to Thursday, May of 2006.
At 3:05 at 3:05 in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nice pick, man. Yeah, I really like those guys. Like I said, I was late to the party, but yeah, they're amazing musicians, every one of them.
So my next three picks probably aren't going to surprise anybody. If you watch this pod or listen to it, you know two things: Joe likes Prince, and I like Tool.
So before you start, when you said I could pick 4 Floyd albums, I'm like, where would Tool slide in?
Yeah, Tool probably number 4, but which one, right? So right now, because you've asked me in a year, it might be different.
Right.
Right now, it's 10,000 Days, which is funny because it just had its anniversary.
It did, yes.
A little while ago, right?
Yep.
But it debuted at number 1 in Billboard Top 200. Sold 546,000 copies in the first week.
Mm-hmm.
3 top 10s. Went double platinum certification. Also certified platinum in Australia and Canada. Gold in Belgium, Germany, Ireland, Poland, United Kingdom. and it was their last release for more than a decade, which just left me hanging.
No
Yeah,
shit,
everyone.
like,
And all
everybody's
Tool,
like, when's the new Tool album coming out? Forever
Right.
people were saying that.
There was you were talking about the how many albums are sold and whatnot. There was such a high demand for this album. They had only printed so many, manufactured.
Yeah, I remember
That
this.
they ran out, and record stores were trying to pay double per copy just so they could get it in to fill pre-orders. They didn't have enough to fill pre-orders.
that's
Wow.
so fucked, eh?
It was nominated for the Best Hard Rock Performance in 2008. Nomination for The Pot was nominated as Best Hard Rock Performance.
And
I love their sound. Obviously, Jimmy, Danny Carey's a legend.
Danny Carey's awesome.
Like,
I got a semi.
right?
I have one too.
I love Maynard's voice.
Absolutely.
It's an instrument in its own. It's unbelievable. The way that they play together, they're so tight together. Again, another band that I've seen live.
Mhm.
They were on second stage at a fucking Lollapalooza that I saw them for the first time. They were touring Undertow, which is another great album.
Yeah.
10,000 Days, one of those ones, again, I can put on and just lay on the couch or sit on the balcony and have a couple of drinks and just let it play.
Yep.
Also, the artwork for the CD was really fucking cool too.
Did you have the one with the little lenses on it?
Yeah, the one with the little lenses, the 3D lenses you would look through at. And the artist, I forget his name right now, I looked it up, but he talked about taking some sort of South American psychedelic drink before he does all the Tool album work. He did 2 or 3 of them. And he said he always takes this psychedelic drink that is popular in South America before he does them.
That's
DMT.
cool.
And he said
That makes a lot of sense.
yeah, right. When you look at it, he's like,
Right.
I remember seeing a bunch of godheads floating around. I'm like, yeah, well, obviously.
Right.
Right. Anyways, that's my number 3.
I have some notes if you're okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, it's real. Their recording process is fucking insane.
Grueling, man.
Oh, I've read a lot about this too, actually. Yeah, you're right.
So the condensed version of this, it might take me 60 seconds, but the condensed version is they purposely don't live close to each other. They live in separate places all over. So they all have their own mini studios and they all write noodles like and then they put it together with another noodle and they put it together with another noodle. So Adam will send Danny, here's some noodling, put something to this. So Danny will do this and rearrange it. Okay, I changed this around, and then they'll send it to excuse me, Maynard. Maynard, what can you do with this time signature? Because it goes all over left and right. And they will sit and they will cherry pick different parts and they will put it together and then they will have a song. And then Maynard will be like, hey, you remember 16 months ago, you gave me this noodling on this tape, blah, blah, blah. I have a vocal for this. Pull it back in and then they'll put it together. And then after they do this enough to have 5, 6 songs, then they'll go in and they'll start recording stuff together as a team.
That's wild.
That's really
It's
cool.
all done independently, and they'll dare each other on time signatures. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
The Fibonacci sequence, where each number doubles by 1.5 times.
Right.
If you take a conch shell and cut it in half, you see that spiral. It's a natural thing that happens. It's called the Fibonacci sequence. They wrote a song to see if they could write the Fibonacci sequence. They're too fucking smart for their own good. It's just
Right.
amazing.
I
Seriously.
remember reading, I don't know if it was on this album, but one of the times when they were recording, they recorded some of the guitar in what they called a pipe bomb mic, where they put a mic inside of a pipe and then they record the guitar
Yeah.
from the reverberation in the pipe.
Yep.
Like just fucking wild stuff.
Yeah.
And it sounds so fucking good when they put it together.
You know, we talk about, Jimmy and I talk about musicians. These guys are musicians. They are literally mathematicians. I mean,
You ever watch those reaction videos on YouTube, like to Danny Carey, like rappers reacting to Danny Carey? And he's doing, I can't remember which song, it might be The Pot, but he's in the Larry Bird Celtics uniform, the full fucking
Oh yeah.
the one guy's I'm watching, the one guy pauses, he goes, I didn't realize Larry Bird was such a good drummer.
He can shoot threes and he can play drums.
Trash talking, fucking ripping in the drums too.
So you'll get a kick out of this. I just pulled them up, and their genres are
Oh fuck.
Oh, Jesus.
alternative metal, post metal, progressive rock, and art rock.
Art rock.
What the fuck is
Look, art rock.
Seriously, what the fuck?
Jesus Christ.
Fuck.
This is music.
Number 2, we might not talk about too much because we talked about it on previous shows, or I've talked about it in previous shows. Number 2 is Back in Black by AC/DC.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can totally see that on anybody's Island album.
Yeah.
list.
Right? Like, I'm sure it's on a lot of people's islands, especially if you do a top 10 or
Yeah.
a top 15. It's going to make a lot of people's marks, even if you're not a huge fan of the genre or even the band. They might be a fan of this album.
Yeah.
That probably would make top 12.
Yeah.
So one of my 37 honorable mentions.
I don't know what I want. 50 million copies worldwide, composed by Johnson Brothers and Angus and Malcolm. Recorded over 7 weeks in the Bahamas when there's a bunch of tropical storms around. So that's why you get Rolling Thunder, blah, blah, blah. I think, I don't want to take too much time talking about it. I love this album. And again, I had to put it number 2 just because of where it sits for me personally. And I think it was one of the first vinyl albums that I bought as a kid.
Yeah.
Again, I wasn't a big vinyl guy. It was cassettes, right?
Yeah.
Because I could take it anywhere. But I couldn't get it in cassette, so I took whatever I could get because I wanted it that bad, and I was not disappointed. Even though my mom tried to talk me out of it because she thought they had something to do with Satan.
Antichrist, Devil Child.
Well, I mean, Hell's Bells does mention, Satan. But you just talked about the music being portable with cassettes. That's actually how they marketed it.
Right?
You can take this music anywhere.
Yeah.
Here's your little briefcase.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember like grade 6, the end of school year, we walked down to the park, and or I can't remember what year it was. Shout at the Devil would come out, and there's a bunch of us walking with our teacher, a bunch of white kids, and it's like preppy shirts and whatever, polo shirts, listening to Shout at the Devil while we're walking to the park for our school end picnic. When our little Shout at the Devil. And teacher's like, what? We're like, you can say we can listen to anything. Sit and listen to anything.
Tommy Lee.
That's a big stick.
Well, thank you for noticing. And we're in Steak and Shake when you said that too, huh? No, I love this pick. This is one of those ones that's just, it's gonna hang. It's gonna be there around you, and everywhere you look, you're gonna love it. And some songs shook me all along. You may or may not fast forward it, but that's come around to me, and I thoroughly enjoyed that whole fucking album. I listened to it, I don't know, a couple days ago.
Yep.
There's one quote I wanted to mention that I'd forgotten about from Rolling Stone magazine about the album. It said, "The first LP since Led Zeppelin 2 that captures all the blood, sweat, and arrogance of the genre."
Okay.
I don't know if that's true, if I agree with it, but I thought it was a funny quote.
I literally played 2 songs on this album yesterday. I played Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution, Let Me Put My Love Into You.
I listened to the entire album today on my way up to Brisbane.
Yeah. Great album. And again, we talked about this. I don't want to take up too much time either, but just how you come in as the replacement or the guy who filled in the spot.
Oh, I didn't even mention
Bon
that.
Scott.
Yeah.
And Brian Johnson just knocks it out of the freaking park with this album, and turns out to be one of the best-selling albums of all time.
Right.
In a relatively short time space too. They didn't take a year off.
We talked about it was a month.
Yeah.
It was a month. He died in February. He joined the band in March.
Yeah.
And that was a Mutt Lange, wasn't it? Mutt Lange that
Yep.
produced?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not lying. Yep.
I think he did 3 back-to-back albums with them.
I think you're right. Correct. Yes.
All right. And again, if you know me, you're not going to be surprised that my number 1 is Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd.
Shocker.
Rocky.
Makes sense. It's a beautiful album.
It's a
I think so.
sonically perfect album.
I don't really have a lot to say. I just love it start to finish. It takes I even the part where every time I have it on a playlist or I play the album in the car if we're going somewhere and Money comes on, it always makes Christy jump because it's really soft and it's loud.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
Well, for years, it was an album that sound engineers would use live to set up their
Right.
systems.
Yep.
Again,
It was
sonically-
Alan Parsons was the sound engineer, was he not, on the Dark Side
He
of the Moon?
was. Yes, he was. Yeah.
Wasn't
he in the Alan Parsons project?
I think
I
so.
don't know. Maybe.
No, that was his cousin Floyd.
That was cousin Floyd.
Floyd
Well,
cousin.
And Alan Parsons, the song "Time" by them, it has a
That
whole
clock.
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
Floyd feel, right? Like,
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm not a huge fan of theirs, but that is really. Anyways, I don't know what to say. There's Roger Waters came up with the concept, and we all know, anybody who knows Pink Floyd, I think you know that album.
I could
Yeah.
see.
I mean, again, that
I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because everything that's been said has probably been said before, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we gave him a whole show, right? Like,
No, like I said, it's sonically a perfect album. I mean, you can still put the headphones on thing and hear every little thing. It's an amazingly produced
I
album.
wish I could
I still
remember
think probably the best sounding album ever recorded.
what is the woman's name that does that solo in the middle? She nails it, man. It is so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
One of the cool. I'm not like the foremost knowledgeable person on Pink Floyd. That was one of those bands for some reason I just skipped in my younger years. I wasn't until I was telling you about my friend Jamie Hicks that introduced it to me later. Same album that you were talking about was that Momentary Lapse, right? But Dark Side of the Moon, phonically or sonically, is just incredible. It's so precise, and it was done on analog. It was not done on digital recording. The process of recording each isolated track, and then they have to do what they call a bounce. They have to take all of these tracks and bounce it down to a left and right channel, and then keep adding more and more on. It's pristine. It's so precise. It sounds like it's a digital quality recording, and that album sold 45 million copies.
Yeah.
crazy.
It's one of the greatest selling albums of all time.
I didn't even mention it was released the year I was born, 1973. So we're at the same age.
Coincidence? I think
Great
not.
year. Great year.
Great year.
Also, it's also one of 20 albums are there put into the National Register of what was it called?
Oh, I did write that down, and I totally forgot. Thanks, Jenny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you say how many weeks it was on the charts?
Oh
No, I didn't.
Oh, like it's insane.
It is crazy. You're right. I forgot all about
I
that.
think like hung on the charts for like decades.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it really did.
Hold on, charts.
Like it might hold the record for
I
long.
can't believe I didn't get that. Son of a
Yeah, it was the thing where it's like it was still in the top 200 for, like you said, decades.
For 30 years. There's something ridiculous. Like
Yeah. It was number 1 U.S. top 100 albums, number 1 Billboard 200, number 2 UK albums, Canada number 1. That was in 73.
does it say how long it hung around though? Like
That's where I'm going. In 75, it was still 23 2 years later. It was around the world. It was still on the charts in 93, 94.
Yeah.
2003, it had a resurgence. I don't know why. 2005, 2006, still on the charts, like still bouncing around. All-time chart as of 2019, it was the 50th greatest song on the chart.
Wow.
wow.
Yeah, it still charted from 2011 to 24. It charted again in 23. It charted in 22. It charted again in Europe in 24, cracking under 100
Like, what the fuck?
All these generations are discovering them and falling in love with the album. It's
Right.
Yeah.
generational, right?
My guess is all these, pop-ups is maybe they were used in a movie
Yeah,
or
soundtrack
a Netflix special or something, and
or
then
a documentary.
people going back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the clip of David Gilmour playing at a pub with his daughter. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah. Well,
Great picks, man.
I'll just say real quick. My honorable mention is "Disintegration" by The Cure.
Oh yes.
Oh, wow.
That was on my short list as well, sir. Nice.
Love
pick.
that album, and it's funny because Robert Smith intentionally tried to make it a dark and depressing album, and it's funny how I can listen to it and at the end of it not be dark and depressed, be the exact
Skip and
opposite.
jump rope.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of the songs on there give me goosebumps still. So, and I have an actual little question. I said, so I listened to all these albums start to finish on my drives recently up north and back, and I skipped one song. Can you name that song?
Of all those albums?
Yeah.
Shook Me All Night Long?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I can never hear that song again. That'd be great.
I tried. I got like 5 seconds in. I'm like, nope.
No, I'm at the rock bar.
It's
I'm
fine.
going to the bathroom. I'm getting a drink. I don't want to hear this shit.
Nope,
Go outside.
Oh, I gotta go take a piss.
And some people are like, yeah, and they flock to the dance floor. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Oh my God, you haven't heard the song enough? You
Right.
literally heard it at least 300,000 times in your lifetime.
Like when I worked at the bar, the DJ would play a stinker on purpose so everybody would go get a drink.
right.
I've come back around on the song. I really have. I enjoyed it again, and I didn't even think twice when I played it the other night. I was like, okay, I'm digging this.
Interesting. Yeah, we talked about that in a previous show. Some songs you never go back to, some you
Mhm.
come back around to. Like, yeah.
Some artists I don't go back to.
Yep, true.
So I
Or
guess
haven't
that's,
yet.
Like the Eagles.
is that me now?
Like fucking Foreigner.
That is going to be you.
Fucking form.
Oh, sorry. Again, I always forget to pass it on.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
You're next.
Yeah. So perfect segue with the AC/DC. I told you guys going in, but I will tell the listeners. I've said it before. AC/DC is my favorite band. I left them off the top 5.
Wow.
And Back in Black and Highway to Hell would be on the extended. They didn't even make honorable mentions. So
Wow.
I kept it to one honorable mention.
Did
So yeah,
you-
if we did a 10, those 2 AC/DC albums are in there. And maybe it is the fat of Shook Me All Night Long, or the 5 I have, I love just as much. I don't know. I can't imagine being on an island and not having AC/DC, but whatever. I made my choice and I'm going to stand by it. So my number 4 is also been mentioned, but wasn't mentioned as an album, but it was a comparable. So my number 4 is Led Zeppelin 2. I love this album. This is my favorite Zeppelin album, obviously. And 4 is pretty close, and then it's open for debate. I don't know if Physical Graffiti would be number 3 for me. I
This is
really
the first
like.
Led Zeppelin on my head.
I really like Houses of Holy, so I don't know, but I like their whole catalog. But anyway, this is their second studio album. I don't have a lot of notes, but I have the albums pulled up here, so I'm not going to read a bunch of bullshit. Because who cares, right? Like in the end, for me, these albums are about the songs, not to discredit all the other information that goes along with them, all the engineering, the producing, where they charted, all that stuff. For me, it's about the tracks, and these albums for me have no fat. That's why I chose them.
Great album.
Yeah, this album it covers everything. Like this album has ballads. This album, "Ramble On" is my favorite song by them. It's on this album. This album is an easy start to finish. I never want to cherry pick a track. I want to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah,
That's it.
I love that pick so much because that is one of my obvious top 4 Zeppelin albums. And so many nostalgic memories from that album in particular in high school. That seemed to be the album that everyone glommed onto. Not so much.
That's
Zeppelin.
maybe why it is for me too, because it's the exact same feeling I have. This is a high school, and we were in the high school in the 80s, well after the album came out in 69, right?
Mhm.
But it's just so like, oh my God, it was like Back in Black. So it's funny that they were compared. Every high school party for me.
I was going to say the same thing. For me, too, is every high school party.
More than 4 was playing.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
So yeah, I'm totally with you, Jimmy. It's nostalgic for me.
Absolutely. The sound quality is pretty awesome because they manage a muddy and a clean sound at the same exact time.
Yeah.
Totally. The drums, perfect.
Moby Dick.
Perfect. There could be nothing else done differently to that album. Recording, he famously lined his bass drum with tinfoil, had 4 different microphones on just the bass drum to get that big compressive sound. Boom, boom. Hit the old Ludwig Speed King. It's a noisy drum pedal. You can, if you have headphones on, you can actually hear the squeak of the drum pedal on that album.
Nowadays, they would take that out.
Yep.
Yeah. Clean that up, they'd say. Clean that up.
Yeah.
Right. And it's funny now looking at it, and I'm sure this happens to you guys after we film episodes, even during we talk about shit, we forgot about that, or I do.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
But I'm looking at this album now and I'm thinking, shit, I didn't give a whole lot of love, enough consideration for opening track, because I love this fucking album, and that is a banger to start, right? Like, I don't know. It is what it is. We can't go back and refilm.
My opening tracks would be different. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I found 6 other songs that I would.
Absolutely. Doing this, I found so many. Fuck,
well, that'll be a year from now when we do part 2.
Revisited.
2.0.
2026 edition.
Right.
This snap 2.0.
Exactly.
Exactly.
All right, I will move on to my next. Excuse me.
Well, Joe, hold on, Joe. You didn't say anything about that album.
Yeah, well, you got more things to say.
I gotta be honest. I don't like that album. I'm kidding. I'm joking. I love the album.
I was ready to throw something.
Throw down, right?
I mean, one of my favorite songs is "Ramble On" as well, and "Thank You." Those are my 2 favorite tracks off it. This album encapsulates the entire band in 8 songs so easily, or was it? It's 9 songs. So perfectly. You get every corner of that band's universe with this album. I love the album. There's not a stinker on it. Again, if we did, what year did this album come out? 1976.
69.
I mean, 69. Yeah, 69.
69.
If we did I think we're not doing the 69 soon, but if we do a 69, if we do a 69 songs, it's probably all Zeppelin songs. Just gonna say, yeah.
Well, this will have some heavy play if we ever get to 69. That just sounded wrong.
I was gonna say.
I'm trying to not say anything, but I'm like,
when do you guys want to do 69? What?
What's going on in my head?
Now.
Wait, what?
Oh shit! All right, I will move on.
69.
Move on to my number 3.
Dude.
69. So number 3 is a repeat artist. I also love this band, but I have stated before, I am a Roger guy. So, and it is a double. It is The Wall. I love The Wall.
Nice.
I have obviously listened to this many, many times. I have watched the film many, many times. To the point where you get to know the movie itself, like. It's one of those movies, right? You don't even need to really pay attention because the music is so good, but you know exactly the part. If you're not looking at it when a song comes on, you know exactly the part of the movie it is. But anyway, yeah, like I said, for me, this was an easy pick. I could not be on an island without some Floyd, and this is the one I would want to have with me. Again, it's about the tracks. I like some of their, and we've talked about it, this band has multiple versions of songs or numbered
Edits, yeah.
edits or whatever, and they have long songs, and then they have some really short
Really short
songs
songs, yeah.
in their entire catalog. And a song like Vera that is on this album that is only I think it's a minute and a half.
Something like that.
It's a minute and 35 seconds. I fucking love Vera. So when we do our Floyd episode, I'm gonna want to have Vera in the top 5. But I know my brain, I'm like, I don't. Come on, like you just gotta talk about a longer song. It's only a minute and a half. Like that's like a piss. You know what I mean? Whoa. But anyway, yeah, there's just, and of course, some people that don't know Floyd that well, they know Comfortably Numb. They know Another Brick in the Wall. But it's the other songs. The other songs that for me are the ones that really do it, right? But anyway, like I said, I can name them all, but I'm not going to.
I refuse to.
But yeah, it's a double, so it's a nice pick, like we talked about before.
Yeah.
Getting as many songs in there as you can, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I should say I looked at but stayed away from their best of their best of compilation. It was released.
Echoes, yeah. I stayed away from best ofs because I was like, where do we draw the line here, right? I take 5 greatest hits, like.
And I thought about the Wall, but I just like the Dark Side of the Moon a little bit more. But
no, I get it. It's right there. It's next for me. Although Animals is really close too. Like they have some great albums, right?
Well, and I love Momentary Lapse of Reason.
Yeah, I think
that's going to be in my top 10 for sure.
I thought that's what was coming out of your mouth before you said Dark Side.
I love it, but no, it's probably right now it's Dark Side, Wall, Momentary.
Ask him next year; it'll be different.
Right. Ask me next week; it might be different.
Yeah, exactly.
I might listen to Momentary Lapse of Reason tonight and be like, "Fuck, why didn't I pick this?"
Right. What I find really cool nostalgically with Dark Side, Physical Graffiti, Billy Squier, Zeppelin 2, The Wall, we'll wait to see what he says. It's probably going to be, relatable to this. Is I mentioned this before. We have a radio station in Minneapolis called KQ. All of this stuff are KQ songs. Dirty Woman. I don't know how many times I heard Dirty Woman on KQRS. Yes, it's so awesome. All of this just brings me right back to a kind of a cool, chill place. Love it. I'm loving these picks.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. Well, you're going to love this one too, because it's old, nostalgic, and one of the greatest selling albums of all time. And again, I could not be on an album and not have Fleetwood Mac. So Rumors is number 2.
Not surprised at all.
It's Forgiven. That is a great album, man.
Right? Like, and this is telling for me because I know you guys haven't done it, but I'm the list guy, right? So
I have 3 kids.
A couple of years ago, I did a list of.
He's done it 3 times.
Right?
He's batting 1,000.
Right? That he knows of. No, but I've mentioned my top 20 songs of all time in many episodes to the point of annoyance. But a couple of years ago, I made a list because I like making lists of my top 20 favorite bands. That was really that was harder than the songs. Like
I just couldn't do it.
It was so hard, man. It was so hard. But when I'm looking at this now, minus my honorable mention because it's one that's a little bit out there, but Zeppelin, Floyd, and Fleetwood Mac are all in the top 10, right? And that's why it was sad to not have AC/DC on it because they're number 1. But of course, these are in my top 10 favorite bands. So of course, their greatest album or one of their big albums is going to be With Me on the Island. If that's the bands I like one of their albums a lot, or all of their albums, or all of their tracks. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
So yeah, Rumors is like I love Lindsey. I think he's underrated guitarist, underrated vocalist.
Very much so. Yes.
And just all of them together is great. Like, I don't know what more you want to say. The album's iconic. All the tracks are good. No Fat.
The album cover too, yeah.
The album cover's awesome, and I have it on a hoodie. I've worn it in a previous episode. To me, and I have it behind my computer here on the wall. The actual record. It's the record. The vinyl's not in the case, but it's an actual record that I bought off somebody for $5, and I put the record in a drawer and put the album up on the wall, right? So
Mhm.
it's a must. It's a must-have. No rumors, no fun on the island for me.
No, I was just gonna say I think I might have brought this up in a previous show, but Lindsey Buckingham's one of those guitarists. Once he picks up a guitar and you hear him play, you know instantly it's Lindsey Buckingham.
Yeah.
You know how hard that is to do, to pick up an instrument that everyone plays,
No.
and all of a sudden he just plays like 3 notes, like, oh, Lindsey Buckingham. I don't care if it's an electric or a freaking nylon acoustic guitar or a steel electric guitar. He sounds like him. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm a big enough fan. When they toured a bunch of years back, 4 or 5 years ago, when they went on tour with Neil Finn and what's his name that was in the Heartbreakers, 2 guys replacing Lindsey, right? And I love Neil Finn because I love Crowded House, but I was like, I don't think they came to Winnipeg anyway. But Katie and I talked about going back to Ontario to see them because our friends were going to see him. And I said, no, I don't want to see him. She's like, why you get like this? I'm like, I had no Lindsey, no Buckingham, or no Fleetwood for me. And I said that to my buddy Brett, who's in Chris, who's in my wedding party, because he was seeing them because he lives in Austin. He was seeing them in Texas, and I said, yeah, no Lindsey, no Fleetwood. And he's like, what are you talking about? Well, Stevie sings all the songs anyway. I'm like, no, wrong. No, she does not.
Yeah, right?
No,
I love her, but wrong.
So then I gave him a chart. I said, so I went and looked, and I'm like, actually, she sings far less songs than Lindsey and Christine did together or individually. Right. And I love Stevie and I love her solo stuff, but like she probably sings 20% or 30% of their songs.
yeah.
So,
and it took 2 guys to replace 1 guy.
Yeah.
2 guys to replace 1 guy, right? It says
Right.
a lot to me anyway. If they came to Winnipeg, I would have went and saw them. I ended up going to see fucking a bunch of other people. I went and saw Elton, and he can't hit the notes. And I went and saw, the Eagles, which I was like, I'm not going to do that. And she's like, we're not double negative. We're not going to go see the Eagles. And so we went, and it was all right.
All right.
Well, you mentioned 2 guitar players having to duplicate one person's guitar playing. Joe mentioned it, his unique style. He has a style of playing called the Travis pick.
Yeah.
Meaning he's playing with 4 fingers at most given times. So he has the ability to make it sound like 2 different guitars. In fact, when they were recording, the layman was like, wow, I thought they had more guitar players.
Right.
Yeah.
Was that other guy playing guitar? No, John's playing the bass over there. No one out. There's no other player, no other guitar player.
I adore
Stevie's playing
style.
the fucking tambourine.
Yeah. Right. Even that vacation song, Holiday Road.
Holiday Road.
The
I love that song.
Yeah, the guitar in it is amazing, right? Like, hey, the dog went on the sandwiches.
He must have ran a good 2 miles until the poor guy just gave up.
You want me to go back and pick up the dead carcass? Oh shit! That movie is gold.
It is.
Oh shit!
Poor guy. That poor little guy.
Yeah, dog killer.
He gives him the leash.
Gives him the leash, right? No, Rusty, he was speeding. Oh, fuck. Anyway,
All right, what do you got next?
that is top 5 comedy for me too. I love that movie.
Oh, me too.
Anyway, okay, so number 1, If You Know Me, should be a no-brainer.
Roxette.
Number 1 is Kick.
What?
I knew it.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, that's
Never heard of it.
Yeah, not a big surprise for anyone that really knows me. I love
Who's the band Kick?
Well, sometimes you kick.
If you know Dink, he likes the Australians.
I like the
yeah.
Aussies, right? And they're my second favorite band after AC/DC. So more Aussies, right? Yeah, I don't know. Again, I'm not even going to look it up. I'm not even going to pull it up on my screen. I still have the wall up. I'm not even going to pull Kick up because I could rattle off all the songs. I could talk about, I think I've mentioned before this band, where at some point we'll probably do a full episode for this band. I hope. I saw them twice I'll say it in that episode. I saw them twice in a week on this tour. Amazing. I love Michael. I love all the guys in the band. I loved Rockstar In Excess when they were looking for a new singer. I love anything to do with this band. I was sad when Michael died, legitimately sad. I've made some hanging around jokes, which are in very poor taste because I did love him and do love this band.
I do love the way he belts it out.
Oh, I think he is your prototypical front man. Yeah, I just got it actually. Jesus Christ, that was in poor taste. Yeah, no, I don't know what it is with this band, and I did get a little bit of razzing from some buddies about that I was a little too into these guys.
Well, I might have been a part of that before.
Yeah, no, and it was before I met you, but then I probably was still talking about them when I met you, and you probably joined in. I was like, oh, great.
I probably piled on. Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
We've had many private conversations.
But I do love them too.
I love them probably more than the regular.
I used to play their live album. Like they had that live
Baby Live. Yeah, so good, man. Right? Like
that was so good.
And they're the reason why I dislike Oasis because they slammed In Excess, right? Like when they accepted an award, it's good to accept an award from a bunch of has-beens.
Has-beens shouldn't present fucking awards to Gunnabees.
And then
I didn't know that. Excuse me.
Yeah, and that's other than those guys are just jackasses anyway in general, but that's my main takeaway is like, oh fuck those guys, right? Like that was unnecessary.
Well, it's also easy to hate Oasis because they did so many things to make people.
Oh yeah,
right.
I mean,
Oasis hates Oasis.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, the two brothers hate each other, don't they?
Oh yeah, right. They do.
When In Excess released Elegantly Wasted, or when they would perform it after that happened, that's when they would sing instead of Elegantly Wasted, we're better than Oasis.
That's awesome.
So that was a funny little thing. But yeah, no, I love this band. I love this album front to back. I never get sick of it. It's always a go-to, even when I'm traveling now. If I'm flying, I'm like, I'll just listen to Kick. Like,
yeah.
And if I fall asleep, it's fine. It's not like I'm upset I missed any of the tracks because I could sing them all. I know all the words to all the songs. It's an easy one. I would have to have it. I'm not sick of it, and I've definitely played it enough to be sick of it. But yeah, that's my number one.
Yeah, actually, like they had some great videos.
Not shocked.
I still remember when they had they did that Mediate video.
Yeah, with the cards
to Bob
Dylan,
the Homesick Blues.
Sorry.
Yeah. That's a great album, man. I had that album too. Played the hell out of it. I love the album tracks. You know, especially this was the day when I didn't listen to a lot of album tracks, but that was one of the albums I listened all the way through.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of songs on there that didn't get as big as Need You Tonight or Devil Inside or New Sensation even, or the ballad, but that are really, really good, right? That, but how they just didn't release them and I think people might have got a little, they were everywhere, right? So there might have been some like, all right, enough of these fucking guys. When X came out, and it had some big radio tracks, right? Disappear, Bitter Tears, but they were starting to fade then. But I think Kick and we talked about it before, Kick is such an amazing album on its own, but an amazing follow-up to how big they got from Listen Like Thieves, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because that's really when you're like, holy shit, who are these guys?
Right.
When What You Need came out, really.
Well, you mentioned the follow-up. They weren't a new band. They had several albums before.
Yeah.
But they broke in the world, maybe America or wherever, with Listen Like Thieves.
Yeah.
How often does a band have a follow-up album that is so much greater and more powerful than the album that they broke from? I mean, it's kind of rare to have.
It is kind of rare, right?
An achievement like that.
And have as many hits as they did off that album.
It's like the whole album was released, it seems.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't, but it feels that way, right? Like it's a banger for sure, and it's a mainstay for me. But yeah, that's my number one.
And it was because of their big single off of Listen Like Thieves is What You Need is one of my
What You Need
favorite
is
songs. One of my favorite songs of all time. It's on my top 20 list easily.
Great song.
Nice.
And that song is like, so when I heard, I think, what was the first song off of the first single off of Kick? Whatever that was, it was like, oh, it's
the
same
first
band.
single I think was Devil Inside, but
I'm like, oh, this is the same band as what you need. I need to get this album. And so that's what led me to that, because I just, to this day, still love What You Need.
It's funny because I didn't think about it till we started talking about it. I remember, I have a distinct memory of, I used to ride dirt bikes, and we'd go to the track, and I remember hearing In Excess Kick coming out of like multiple people's vehicles or trucks while they're getting ready to go.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it was always that album and Dire Straits' Brothers in Arms, you know?
yeah,
I stand corrected. Devil Inside was the third single. Need You Tonight was the first single.
Oh,
Need You Tonight.
That makes sense.
Tonight.
And in fact, to be honest with you, I don't have the band in front of me, but their guitarist, he had the coolest looking guitar on that tour.
Well, which one? They have two as well. So Tim
Yeah,
Ferriss,
I don't remember, but
Tim Ferriss is one of the brothers. He's the main guitarist, but Kirk
my
Begley
first
is the
guitar I ever
guitarist
got,
and saxophonist.
my first guitar I ever got, I got because of him. It was a Westone. The one I got was a giant pile of shit, but I got it. Ooh, that looks cool. And so that's why I had to get a Westone guitar back in the day because of him. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, actually, now that I pulled it up and looked, there was only 5 singles from the album.
Only 5. Only 5.
Need You Tonight, New Sensation, Devil Inside, Never Tear Us Apart, and Mystify, which I didn't even realize because I don't look it up because I thought I knew everything, but they released Mystify. So only 5 singles out of the 12 tracks. But some of those other album cuts, like you said, Joe, are just like, he's like Kick, Calling All Nations, Wild
Guns
Side,
in the
Sky. Like,
Yeah.
Guns in the Sky is a great way to start the album, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Ends with Tiny Daggers, which is a great song too.
yeah, great tune. Yeah.
Well, you talk about In Excess a lot, so I just preemptively started a list just in case we do an episode on them.
Nice.
And my wife is a big fan of In Excess.
Good. I
And
love your wife.
I said, give me some songs that people don't know or whatever, and she named off about was it Shabba Shabu
Shabba Shabu.
Just about stuff like the time changes, something like that. Anyway,
Don't change.
that's what it is. Don't change. And she introduced me to a bunch of In Excess that I had never heard, a bunch of earlier stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm ready for that list if that ever happens. But it's really cool. To this day, I don't go crazy when I buy albums. I don't spend a lot of money. My wife calls me very cheap. But to this day, the most expensive album that I have purchased to this day, Jenny, stop listening, is Kick. I bought a promotional album copy of it, and that is the most expensive album that I've purchased today.
Wow. Awesome.
Nice pick, man.
That's a great pick.
excellent.
Okay,
Like I said, it kind of blew my wad on that one because now you guys already know what my number 1's going to be if we ever do an NXS show. So
Right.
All right, number 5 is a bit of a weird one. I rambled a lot during the Alice in Chains episode of my stretch of getting caught up with Alice in Chains and listening to them. But I did say that a couple other things broke through during that time other than Eurodance. And it was Our Lady, I think I said Our Lady Peace and Seven Mary 3. So American Standard is my honorable mention. I only have one honorable mention. I'm following the rules.
I'm shocked and appalled.
Well, I do have another 5, and it's two AC/DC, a Priest, and
just ram it down. Just ram it down. Then.
No, it's Defenders of the Faith. But anyway,
Okay, Kiora.
there's something about this American Standard album that I just fell in love with, and I know they got a big knock for being a band that seemingly was trying to sound maybe like Pearl Jam or like that sound of the era. And they are, because it came out in September 95. And it's considered post-grunge, right? Alternative rock, post-grunge, no art rock, thankfully. But I don't know, Jason Ross's voice, there's just something about his voice that I think annoyed a lot of people. I fucking loved it. I loved it in their rock songs like Water's Edge and Cumbersome. And I love it when he sings soft in ballads, right? Like Lame from this or Devil Boy and some of their other ones, right? Like Rock Crown album afterwards, Make Up Your Mind. They had some slower songs that were radio hits, right? But for me, this album is just a great album front to back, and I spent a lot of time listening to it in those days in the mid to late 90s, and I always return to it. And it's anytime we've had this conversation, myself and other friends, it's always the one that people are always like, "Well, that's weird." You know what I mean? When you say, "Oh, Zeppelin, Floyd, Fleetwood Mac," INXS gets a little bit of an eye roll, but they understand that's just me, right?
Yeah.
Seven Mary Three. That's fucking weird. But whatever. I like to be me, right? And I love this album, and I will never sway from it. I think I mentioned when we were talking about singles that I bought the Cumbersome CD single well after I knew this album front to back, just because it had acoustic version of Cumbersome, just to get more Seven Mary Three in a different kind of way, right?
Yeah.
And they've faded. They had Rock Crown and Orange Ave, and I'm spitting all that stuff out without even looking. And then they kind of faded, and I think they released another album in the mid to late 2000s that I didn't really like. Whatever, I'm done with Seven Mary Three because I like this chunk that you did, and I'm not going to progress with the band. They released an album last year, the year before, and I was like, I'll give this a shot. When I was going, I think it was last year because I was going through this whole phase. I think I talked about it in one of the other episodes. I'm going to try to start listening to full albums again because I don't collect vinyl, and I'm a cherry picker with songs and making lists on Spotify or whatever. And so that's how I knew the Honeymoon Suite album was really good front to back. And I'm like, I'm giving full albums a shot here. And I was like, Seven Mary Threes isn't bad. Maybe I should go back to listening to a lot of other artists. And maybe that will be a mistake and a big giant waste of time because I'm sure there's some garbage too. But it's his voice for me, Jason Ross. So that's it. Seven Mary Three, American Standard.
Again, nice eclectic list.
Yeah. So I guess that's unless you got nothing else to say about Seven Mary Three.
I have one note.
Oh, my ringer's on. I did not know that.
I have one note. I am familiar with Cumbersome and Water's Edge. Those are the two songs that I know. I think everyone may or may not know those songs. But do you know why they were named, how they got Seven Mary Three?
No, I have it up here. I'm not going to look, but no, I do not.
The TV show Chips. It was their radio.
Oh shit!
I didn't know that actually. Now that you say it, shit.
That's right. It was Seven Mary. I'm disappointed myself as a fan of Chips, not knowing that. Not recognizing.
Ponch and Baker, right?
And when they redid what's his name, Dax Shepard in
movie.
he did the movie. They fought tooth and nail to get a Seven Mary Three song on there, and I guess they couldn't. And maybe they did. I don't remember, but they were trying really hard to get a Seven Mary Three song on there for that reason.
I don't know that I saw that.
I thought it was pretty funny.
It was
under the radar.
Okay.
Under the radar. I like Dax
I
Shepard. I said that out loud, and I love Michael Pena.
Oh yeah, Michael Pena's he's great.
I like the Eric Estrada memes that traveled around back in the day, in the emailing days before Facebook and stuff. But anyway, that's just me.
I'm just here to smell the memes.
Just here to smell the memes. Right? Back to one of your picks. Stevie Wonder memes are the best, right? That one where you could do close the sun with your fingers. That one where he's like trying to do it, and he's like the sun's like way over here. That's just gold. Anyway, all right. Enough of rambling. Up to you, Joe. Let's close it out here.
With the real list
with 4 Prince albums.
I thought this was going to be an easy process because I told you guys, I think in the past, in a previous show, that I've relearned, or actually I took up the hobby again to listen to full albums.
Yeah.
Even if I only listen to only like 2 songs, I'm like, I'm going to listen to a full album, just see if there's anything in there that I just missed, right? Or I might like the
On
whole.
gold that way, yeah.
So how I compiled this was really like, okay, there's got to be an LA Guns album there, right? There's got to be Alice in Chains album there, right? There's got to be a Joe Satriani album there, right? There's got to be, I don't know, what's that guy's name? A Prince album there, right?
Nice.
I thought you were going to name someone else.
I love it.
There's not any of those.
Caught me off guard, man.
There's got to be a Police or Sting album. I mean, there's all these artists that I was just like, okay. So, like I said, I went through different phases. I did a whole double album thing where I had, House of the Holy on there, and I had a couple other ones I won't mention, but it's a whole different process. So this list has been changing,
Evolving.
since evolving, changing up to the point where when we were in our pre-show talk, I changed my number 1 because I know it's today. Like Chris said earlier, you do this next week and that'll be a different list, right?
Well, hold on. On that note, what you just said, an hour before we started recording, Chris is like, I just got to stop fucking changing my list.
Easier said than done, man. I'm telling you.
I'm ready. I got to stop fucking changing my list.
Well, like I said before, George Lucas famously said, movies are never finished. They're just abandoned, because
Right.
sometimes you just gotta stop fucking with it, right?
Yep.
So I knew one thing was for sure. I had to have one instrumental album in there because Steve Vai, Joe
That makes
Satriani,
sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
a bunch of our guitars. It's a big part of my life. That's what I write personally. I write instrumental guitar music. So this one changed as well because this is the album that was originally on the list, and I took it off because, like, oh god, that's gonna be the album that made him, that sold the most and made him really popular. But my number 4 is Joe Satriani's "Flying on a Blue Dream." Why? Because, well, still to this day, when I put that album on, I have to listen to the entire album. It's just a great album. It influenced me more than any other album in probably my entire life when it came to guitar playing, because he wasn't he's never been a guy for flash. He's always been about melody. There's a track in there, Day at the Beach, where it's just 2-handed tapping, and it's not him just tapping and make a bunch of notes, and it's actually a melody. There's a whole song. It's just a guitar. There's nothing else. It's just his one hand's playing the bass notes and his other hand's tapping the melody. It's amazing. At that time, it was for me, it was like mind blowing. Like, what the heck? But I was gonna pick Joe Satriani's self-titled album, but as I kept on going back to this album, I was gonna pick The Extremists, because that was a huge album for me too.
Love that album.
I still like that album as well. But it kept on coming back to "Flying a Blue Dream." Songs on there, obviously the title track, "Forgotten" parts 1 and 2. I play those guitar parts to myself all the time. The Bells of Law parts 1 and 2, and Mystical Potato Head groove thing. That's one of my favorite songs by him. It's just, plus he sings one of my favorite songs by him. He doesn't have a great voice, and we know Joe likes voices that aren't perfect. He doesn't have a good voice at all, but he sings a great song called "I Believe." And music's amazing. His voice is perfect for the song, and the lyrics are really good. And for a guy who doesn't normally sing, it was actually a single off the album as well. So that's my number 4.
Solid.
I'll let you guys talk because I have things.
Give me your things.
Go ahead.
All right. So I love this album so fucking much. I believe it's beautiful. It's eloquent. It's everything. But Mystical Potato Head groove thing.
It's a great song, man.
Awful
title, but great song.
Yeah.
I broke 3 brand new cymbals in a tantrum trying to learn that fucking opening sequence with the goddamn cowbell, because I fucking hate cowbell. Oh, I spent so much time, and I threw brand new cymbal. I spent $400 on, cracked it all the way to the bell, and I said I'm never going to try again.
And did you?
No, never tried again.
Maybe you didn't have a fever.
That could be it.
Right? Bruce Dickinson was not in the recording studio with me saying I need a favor. I have a flavor for more cowbell. I love this pick. This is a great pick. I knew that you were going to have Satch. I knew it. I thought it was going to be The Extremist.
It was The Extremist until maybe 3 hours before we'd had the show, and I took it off and put on this one. So,
well, you're not alone. I think all of us have done the last minute.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh, I just ripped up a note I was going to say.
I didn't do it for this one, but yeah, I've done it. Like, oh fuck.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to break your stride. That's a great pick. I love that one.
Good job.
I mean, like I said, I had Passion and Warfare there. Early list was Passion and Warfare, and I kept on going back to Satch just because, like I said, he doesn't. I love Steve Vai, and Passion and Warfare is one of the best instrumental albums ever, especially for the day because it's a really highly produced album.
Yeah.
But it just comes back to Satch for me and melody, you know, and he will play the simplest little thing if it's a cool melody. Yeah. Number 3, I will say number 3 for the longest time up until this morning or so was Police's Synchronicity. It's not, but their singer took that space, and it's Sting, The Soul Cages, his 3rd studio album, solo album. It's released in 91, sold over 7 million copies. I didn't think it was that much, but oh my God, over the world, it was 7 million copies. Went double platinum in the US and in Canada. The album's got a really interesting story. I'm not as a completely different album form. It's almost like in its own little world. It's not really pop Sting. There's only really one song that's really pop. And that's all his time. Yeah. Everything else, the album is a concept album. So Sting developed writer's block right after his previous album. And his dad died in 87. So right when his dad died, he had writer's block for many years. He couldn't write anything. So finally he figures I'm just writing about my dad. So the entire album is about his dad. So
wow.
It's sometimes, I mean, a lot of times it's a very depressing album, but by the time you get done listening to the end of the last song, you're like, that was a great ride, man. And every song, like I said, this album kind of stands apart from the rest of his sonically produced albums. This one's got its own tone to it, you know. That's my number 3.
Well, I will say 7 million. That's like, for those about to rock, it must have been a huge letdown.
Right? Nice callback. That's a great callback. I love this album. A lot of the times he had Omar Hakim playing drums in this album, but this album, I believe he used 6 or 7 other drummers.
Yeah, this album, multiple musicians. He was going Peter Gabriel on this album.
And on top of it, the drummers weren't standard drummers. They were percussionists, meaning they used a lot of Latin percussion, bongos, congas, conguitas, those kind of things, djembes, you know, all sorts of different things on this album. So I always thought that the album, I knew it was a concept-ish album because he likes to go that way. I always thought it was because of a short story by Ernest Hemingway. I didn't know it was about his father.
Yeah, it was about his dad, Like even the album starts out with a very melancholy song. Like the first track, Island of Souls, is very melancholy. It's not a happy song. It's not a sad song, but it's very melancholy. And that's normally not how you start out an album, you know, especially a pop album. Right after that's All This Time is one of my favorite songs of all time. No pun intended, but it picks back up, right? And that's really the only poppy song on the album. Everything else is very dedicated to the album's purpose, I think. But yeah, I had to go to this album just because yeah.
So you're taking Island of Souls to the island.
I am. There's something there.
Right.
You don't fuck around.
I don't fuck around. My number 2 won't come as a surprise to Jimmy. Maybe you guys, because I don't talk about them that much. But one of my favorite guitarists is on this band. His name is Nuno Bettencourt. This album also changed my life, and it ruined it for Jimmy because I listened to it nonstop from
God.
morning to night when it came out. It's a double album. It's Extreme's 3 sides every story. It's by far and away, I think, one of the best albums ever made. That's
It's
me.
a great album.
It's a great album. But again, concept album. There's 3 parts: yours, mine, and the truth. They had a big budget for this because they had More Than Words, which is absolutely huge for them from the previous album, Porno Graffiti.
Yep.
So Nuno Want his dream was to always record with that orchestra. He had a 70-piece orchestra. I mean, this album cost a lot of money. The double album for a band who'd had really one giant hit and a couple of minor other hits, right?
Right.
But everything, again, being Extreme, this album encompasses like 3 or 4 different styles of music. But it also includes one of my favorite guitar tracks ever, Cupid's Dead. This is a great groove. It's funky as fuck. Again, Extreme, they're always bordering on that, funk metal thing. Gary's vocals are amazing on this. The words, one thing you can kind of knock Extreme for in their first 2 albums, where the lyrics are kind of, when they're singing nursery rhymes and stuff like that, you can be like,
Mama, don't want to go to school today.
Yeah. Very 80s type lyric, where this one is a very mature album. I hate that word. I've said this before. I hate that word mature, but I mean, the lyrics on this are excellent. Every song's a freaking story. No pun intended again. But yeah, this album, again, like the Joe Satriani album, changed my life. It's great. That's my number 2.
That's a great pick. I think that album is underrated. And it wasn't just Jimmy. I liked that album, and I had some friends that would knock me for Extreme, right?
Everyone did back
because
then.
of More Than Words, and I like
More Than
Wholehearted, but because of Wholehearted, Get the Funk Out, they kind of got a bit of a reputation, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, but then yet they're lauded 30 years later for their 6th album, 6, because of how they are, which is they're eclectic and they don't play just rock, And for those you don't know, it had the hit Rest in Peace.
I was just gonna say Rest in Peace.
Tragic Comic.
And the bomb.
Rest in Peace is a fucking dynamite track. Like I
is,
still put it on so many lists, right? And again, if I play those lists in front of those friends, they're like, fucking Extreme. I'm like, this fucking song's awesome, man.
Dude.
Are they friends?
Are they really friends then?
Right? Are we friends, Chris?
Well,
we're friends. Are they poison, right? It's not like, nothing but a good time.
I don't listen to them.
Well, a lot of people don't listen to them.
Right.
I didn't even think I forget about them till somebody brings them up, and the first thing I think of is, like you said, More Than Words, and then Wholehearted, which I fucking hated.
Oh, I loved it.
I liked that better than More Than Words.
More Than Words was just killed, right? Like
they both got killed on Much Music, and I just fucking never recovered. I don't think. I do remember the album coming out, but I don't remember the songs. Really, I do, but I don't. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Joe,
I can tell you the
talked
day
about
it
their
came
newest
out.
album is just awesome, right? Joe?
What? Sorry, Jimmy.
I said I could tell you the day it came out.
PTSD.
Shit.
No, I mean, he was talking about that. We lived together, we partied together, we were, like he said, boyfriend and girlfriend, for a better sense of reality there.
Hetero life mates.
Yeah.
Who was the top?
Always me.
Well, we took turns.
Yeah, that's good. Scissoring.
Yeah. So then luckily that's just on video. When the album came out, the album is a beautiful album. I am not going to deny that. It is a beautiful, beautiful album. You're making me laugh. But like Joe said, he played it a lot, and it was a lot for me to take at the time. But I've gone back. I ignored Extreme for a very long time, and it wasn't just PTSD. I mean, that probably had a lot to do with it. But their newest album is 6, with the one with the gorilla head.
Yep.
Okay. That's a fucking banger of an album.
Good album.
Gary Sharon's fucking voice has not aged. It's only gotten
62,
better.
dude, and he's still singing like that.
But it's only gotten better. He's not
gotten better, I think.
to replay, to have to play differently, to whatever.
Yeah.
That was a jumble of words. I'm sorry, but I've gone back and
I understood it. That was bad.
Yeah, I got it too, and I haven't even known you that long. Jesus Christ.
I've gone back and I've listened to a large majority, and I have embraced them again. The first album, it's a hard listen. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, there's 2 songs that I really still listen to, and it's a bad production. It's a very low budget album.
Yeah, but this is a great pick, and the reason I say it's a great pick because of my nostalgia of Joe just going ham on this fucking album. I'm not gonna lie, he went ham on it.
But, and the sad part is, I had a laugh. Was you mentioned their 6th album, 6, when the first video came out, Rise came out.
Yep. Oh my
God! You seen this guy? Noodle Betancourt was rediscovered by all these new young guitarists, and the solo is not that hard, but he was like, "Oh my God, the solo!" And it's a great solo. But I mean, this album is a masterpiece in guitar lessons, and it's just it's hard, it's melodic. But I always laugh because, like, dude, listen to Cupid's Dead, man. You want to hear a fucking solo? That's a fucking solo,
Go
ahead.
I was just gonna say I feel bad because it was shitting on them. It's just I don't think I've gone back to listen to him. It's not that I didn't like his voice or respect the guitar playing, or it's that I haven't gone back.
It's the overkill of the big ones, and that would turn anybody.
And I actually forgot about the double album that you're talking about. I even forgot the name of it right now.
And Porno Graffiti, the song that had more than words on that year, was the most returned album because everyone thought it was all going to be ballads, and not ballads.
Most return. That's what you want.
It didn't beat Van Halen's record.
Most returned album of that year. Yeah.
Well, the most returned album in history is Van Halen 3. It's true. I've got like 5 notes here.
Prove me wrong.
Chris, you talked about not going back. The reason I went back is because music has become kind of stale.
Oh, it sounds like an old man rant right now.
No. Music has become kind of stale. Get off my lawn. Get off my lawn, you fucking kids. Listen to Dan Fogelberg. But no, music got a little stale, and there was some bands that kind of came back with some really, really powerful albums. Winger being one of them, Extreme being another one. Yeah. So these kind of got me back into my old mojo, if you will, going back and listening to stuff like, okay, I need to go back and reassess this because you can't have this fucking killer album then have a bunch of dog shit before it. So I was probably the asshole in the scenario, and I had to take my old man fucking Dockers off and go back and listen to some shit. Right. The other thing Joe was talking about how the world went fucking crazy for this Rise is because Eddie Van Halen died, and they're looking for a new prodigy. They're looking for a savior. They're looking for a new replacement, and he's kind of the next logical step.
Yeah, he's very Eddie Van Halen-esque, if you will.
Well, the first album. Listen to the first album. That was Eddie Van Halen.
Very much so.
Before you move on, I got one funny Joe thing with Extreme. So years ago, before I moved here, so 10 years ago, when Joe and I were online pals from having our own podcasts and stuff, I had posted a picture on Facebook. I used to have this pretty famous within my friend group dresser full of cassettes. And I would move, and I might have mentioned it in other shows, I would move this fucking thing from house to house.
I think I fucking moved that thing once.
You probably helped move, right? You take the drawers, and it had like 800 cassettes or whatever the hell was in it. But at one point, I had them all over the floor because I was getting rid of them, right? And sadly, I gave a bunch away, but I threw a bunch out, like literally put them in garbage bags. Yeah, total, right? Like, and it was my
disrespect.
Yeah, I don't want to blame my wife, but she was like, "Are we moving? Are we moving those again?" And I'm like,
"She doesn't listen to the podcast,
right?" And right.
Okay.
So yeah, another knock against her. Way to go. And she just texted me, and I had my phone on. But anyway, she was like, "Are we moving those again?" And she was right. I'm like, "No, I think it's maybe time to let them go." Now, in hindsight, I wish I'd taken all the sleeves, because it just would have been even just like that, a stack like that with all the little sleeves, right? And I could have made, I think I've said, I could have made something cool, poster or coffee table thing or whatever. But the picture I posted, they were all over the floor. They were all in alphabetical order in the drawers and stuff. But Joe had obviously seen the picture and zoomed in, because he commented,
Oh, did
I see a couple extreme in there. The whole giant pile. Joe picks out the extreme.
Wait, what? Someone else likes extreme too.
Right. I see a couple extreme in there. Nice. I'm like, yeah, they're going in a garbage bag. So
where's Waldo? Where's the extreme?
Right. But yeah, no, it always made me laugh, right? And then when I really got to know you and knew how much you liked extreme, I'm like, my brain went back to that comment. I was like, that's funny.
You're like, this is an issue. This guy likes extreme way too much.
Right.
Well, that's funny because there's a weird echo going on here. Sorry. You're talking about having the big dresser full of tapes. Joe and I had lived together in multiple places, and we moved our shit a lot. Joe had this big fucking bin of tapes and CDs, and it was like a hot mess, a big pile of everything. It's like, fine, I'll move it. Right.
I wasn't well organized.
Do you remember that big bin of tapes?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
You gotta have it though, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't have now. Like, Jimmy, you got all the vinyl, but I don't have any of that shit. Like, and I kind of miss it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't miss lugging it. Like, I don't plan on moving again for a
Oh my
long
God,
time.
dude. When we moved, my wife goes, "What is this box?" She goes, "It weighs 100 pounds." I'm like, "Those are just albums." She's like, "What?" And then she picked another one, and it's like 1,000 pounds. Like, she's like, "What's that?" I'm like, "That's box sets."
Yeah, I don't have any of that. I got rid of all. I got boxes of other nostalgic garbage that I should just put in the fire pit, but I don't have any hard media, which is sad because my basement used to be, Chris knows this. I actually had the guy that built my basement do built-in shelves for all the DVDs, all the CD racks in the back. Like, all that stuff was such a thing in my basement, and now it's not.
And if you wanted to find it, you had to look at the Duotang.
Yeah, I had a Duotang.
Wow.
You didn't think you'd hear Duotang tonight, right? We're not taking it.
The folder you could put the 3-ring paper in with the metal clips you could fold down.
It's like a cheap.
We had a fucking Duotang full of like.
Okay.
If you wanted to, hey Dick, where's this? Look at the Duotang. It'll tell you where it is.
Right.
You had everything fucking listed.
Kept the Duotang going with all burnt CDs and all random old VHS. Oh, where's that? Those sports. That's all. Check the Duotang, man. I don't know what Duotang is, sadly. Right.
Well, we derailed. Let's go back to
sorry.
Yeah. So that's my number 2.
It was good.
Oh Jesus!
Any comments?
No?
Sorry, Joe.
Well, you know what? There is something that. I'm just kidding.
Are you taking a Duotang to the island? But anyway.
Okay. So my number 1 won't be any surprise.
No.
It's by a group. This one changed. It was by. The other album I was going to pick was also by the same group. This one is number 1. This is by Prince and the Revolution.
Knew it.
It is Parade.
We're not sure.
Parade. Wow.
Again, if you ask me this next week, it could be Around the World in a Day. It could be Sign of the Times.
Yep.
This album is very unique in the fact that nothing I think that I've ever heard, ever recorded sounds like this album. This album is a mixture of funk, pop, French music, island. It's all got these little flavors. There's not one thing like this is a French song. It's all mixtures of this put together. For those of you who don't know, this is the album that has the massive hit Kiss on it. And also my 2 personal favorite Prince songs, Mountains, and one a lot of people don't know of, but it's called Another Lever Hole in Your Head. That's one word. Funky fucking song. This is also the 3rd album with the Revolution and Prince's 8th album. So the Revolution would break up, after this tour. They would be fired, I should say. They would be fired. But this album is it's so good. Like I said, again, not only with nobody else has an album that sounds like this music, but even Prince does have an album that sounds like this music. There's songs on there that he wrote with Wendy and Lisa. There's songs on there he wrote with his dad. He's never talked about this, but there's Wendy and Lisa would say sometimes he would give his dad credit so his dad would get publishing money. So
Makes sense.
Sometimes he would take a lick his dad had, anyhow, but that's my number one. Again, I could have picked 3 or 4 Prince albums. This week it's Parade, just because, again, this album, I'll listen to the entire album. It's a concept album, kind of, believe it or not, because it's actually it's a soundtrack to Under the Cherry Moon. The album sold, I can't believe this, over 10 million copies worldwide.
Wow.
So, wow. Yeah, so it was actually a massive seller, but only really one song was a hit off of it, and that was Kiss. Mountains was a minor hit. He released Girls and Boys in Europe, didn't release it here. Again, another funky track, so good. If you haven't listened to this album, I'd say you don't have to listen to the entire album, but listen to Mountains, listen to Girls and Boys, Another Lover Hole in Your Head. It's so good. I'm telling you. That's my number one. Shocker, it's a Prince album.
Not a shocker at all.
No.
As a semi or partial Prince fan, I don't think you can go wrong with having an album on an island of his.
No.
I am surprised it's not Sign of the Times, but I get where you're going with. It could be any one of those, right? But
Yeah,
I just know you've said that's largely thought of as his best. I know that you love it, so I was thinking that's what was coming. So
I did too.
and then when you went, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be Purple Rain. When you went Parade, I was like, oh.
Purple Rain's interesting album because every Prince fan, diehard Prince fan, loves Purple Rain, but it's never their favorite album, which is weird because I love every song on that album. It's
the semi or people like me that are, or probably maybe less Prince fans than I am, and I'm a semi. They love it. Like the everyday Prince fans love Purple Rain because they love the movie. They know all
that was how I
know all the
discovered
tracks.
Purple Rain. That's how
Right. That's how they discovered them. They know all the tracks, right? So that's their one. But there is some. Really
Purple Rain was the 6th album. He would go ahead and release another 34 albums after that.
Jesus Christ.
do you remember when I put a bass bin in one of my cars? I had I think one of the first songs I ever played in that I think I had a 12-inch subwoofer in the back was Cream. That fucking song rocked on that stereo system, man.
Yeah,
Love
that
his
songs
songs in general rock, right? Just crank some of his tunes, right? And some of them, like I said, are the ones that not the everyday music fan or Prince fan would know.
Yeah.
Right. But no, great pick. Like
that album is on I talked previously about when we search for albums, there's a constant, 10 albums that I'm constantly looking for. That album is on my wife's list of 10, and we can't seem to find a fucking copy that's not scratched to shit or torn up.
My original is it's unplayable.
Yeah.
I had to buy a new one. But yeah, my number one was Sign of the Times for a little bit, and then it was Ronald Word of the Day for the longest time, and then literally just while we were talking, I changed it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that shows how much of a Prince fan you are, because those other ones have more hits or more popular songs than Parade does, right?
Yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, and I could even say, well, Sign of the Times is like House Lonely. It's a double album. We have more Prince music, right? Well,
again, another reason why I thought you're going to have it, because it's a double.
Me too.
Real quick, my honorable mentions. I have 2. I broke the rule, I guess.
Nice.
I don't know we had a rule, but apparently we had a hard rule.
No hard rules.
No hard rules.
One you guys probably know in Canada, but most Americans never heard of this guy, and he's absolutely huge everywhere else. But that's Robbie Williams. Robbie Williams' 2003 album, I think, came out, Escapology. Fucking love this album. Every song on that album is a fucking banger. He's got distorted guitar. He's got some funk. He's got a little bit of everything. I like Robbie Williams, especially when he pokes fun at himself. There's a couple of tracks on there that he pokes fun at himself. He famously, if you didn't know this, Jimmy, he's next door neighbors with Jimmy Page. Their castles are next to each other. Yes, castles.
I didn't know that.
And Jimmy Page was suing him because Robbie Williams was having work done on his castle, and he didn't like what it did to the view of his castle.
Oh. Rich people problems.
Yeah, beyond. Yeah, I mean, I think that's beyond rich. And real quick, another honorable mention. She's the daughter of my number 3, and it's Elliot Sumner. Again, most people know she even exists. It's weird because she looks just like Dad. She's the only kid that looks exactly like Dad. And when she went on tour with this album, she had Dad's bass, his Fender P bass. She moves like Dad. She writes lyrics like his dad. I mean, the entire album's amazing when it comes to the lyrical content. Her first album, she was actually known as I Blame Coco, because she didn't want anybody to know she was Sting's daughter, right? So that album, she had no say. So, and it's unfortunate because they took a bunch of her acoustic and like raw songs and made them very poppy, made them very bubblegum, and overproduced it. And it kind of sounds like crap. But she was embarrassed of that, and so she broke the record contract, and she finally got a different record contract to do this one. And this album is, again, every song is a banger. But if you have a chance, listen to Elliot Sumner Information. It's a great album.
Great album. Agreed. And actually, it might have been you that
Probably.
told me.
That's how I know.
Years ago, that told me that it was Sting's daughter, because I think I posted something on Facebook about this is a good album. People should check this out.
Yeah.
And I think it was you that told me about it. That's how I know.
And then I think you commented or sent me a message, that's Sting's daughter, right? I was like, I did not know.
It's funny because once you see her and you're like, oh, okay, she looks like Dad. And then when you see her live, because they did like a small tour in the United States, and she had like a 3-piece band behind her. Man, she moves on stage just like her dad. It's funny. She plays bass just like that. There's a couple of songs. There's one song in there you could say that's a Police song. But otherwise, for the most part, it's very much her. Yep. Those are my picks.
That was another good list, man. That was some real Castlemania, if you will.
Excellent. Excellent.
Well, a while back, I listed off the top 9 selling albums of all time.
Yes.
We have 1, 2, 3. We have 3 albums that have been picked from a variety of us. The Wall at number 5, Back in Black at number 6, and what was the other one? Rumors at number 8.
I was gonna say Rumors have to be up there, yeah.
The only diamond level certificates, and we've had 3 of those albums on.
That's pretty good for 4 guys to pick a third of the greatest albums of all time.
Yeah.
And that
next week we might have more of them.
Right.
Quite possible.
What I found cool about this episode, excuse me, I'm sorry, is it reminded me of 7th, 8th, 9th grade when you're sitting around a room with your friends. Oh, you have to hear this. You have to hear this. You have to hear. This is how I found new music, was in a circle like this.
Right.
We talked about all sorts of different albums, and all of them were somehow part of that circle of friends that people just sat and talked about. Like Elliot Sumner. Never heard of Elliot Sumner, and Joe introduced me. The AC/DC, Pink Floyd, all that stuff. So it's really cool.
No, I agree. I find that about most of our shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's always 1 or 2 songs, like something to check out once we're done filming, or something that you maybe know, but you're not that familiar with. And now you got a friend who says it's really good. You should check it out. And then you do, right? Like, so yeah, again, the same kind of thing from when you're younger, sitting around shooting the shit with your buddies. And have you heard this? Like Chris and I've done it a million times. I'm sure you guys did, living together, right? You gotta check this out, man. You don't even say you got it. You just put it on. You just force the guy to listen to a more extreme.
And to be honest, I don't like, case in point, I don't even know how I came about Elliot Sumner somehow. I have no idea. I mean, the album was released in 2014. I don't think I discovered it until like 2018, 2019, something like that.
It was, you probably did right before me, because it was just right after that I said something on Facebook, because I just discovered it.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, this is good. Who the fuck is this?
And I know there's something there too, because
I thought it was a dude.
Well, yeah. Yeah, she's like I said, she sounds like Dad. But I know there's something there because when a lot of times I'll show my wife like, oh, check out this new song or this new band. She's like, you know. But then I would play this entire album in the car, and she'd know like the lyrics to various songs, and she's like, "Oh, we listen to that." I'm like, I'm sorry." I'd be like, one time I was like, "I'm sorry, I'm sure you're getting sick of this." She goes, "No, but I love it." I'm like, "Wow."
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was.
She is supportive. I gotta love her because mine would be like, no, don't put that back on.
Oh yeah, I got the same thing.
Right.
Oh, no, sometimes she'll get that if it's one of those songs, but yeah, this one's on the album. When I put it on, she's like, she actually enjoys the entire album.
Or I'll turn it up and then she turns it down. I'm like,
It's funny when we drive a lot of long distance drives, and on the steering wheel there's the volume button. So like she'll turn something up and I'll just slowly click it down, and it finally gets to the almost inaudible, and she'll be like, "I fucking hate you."
oh, you noticed that? Yeah, too good.
Well, that's our picks for our favorite desert island albums. Do us a favor, and leave a comment. What are the albums you would want to with you on an I don't know.
We want to hear them.
Yeah, I'd love to hear other people.
Yeah, give us your ideas for shows, a year, an artist. Tell us about an artist we don't know about. Because I love discovering new sets. One thing I love about this show is discovering these new Canadian bands and acts I've never heard before. Yeah, give us your ideas. Again, give us a like and a subscribe. Again, just go to justrankedpod.com to find all of our socials. You'll find us on TikTok. You'll find us on Facebook. Dink does a great job. That's all Dink's work. He does a great job doing that stuff. My name is Joe, and for Jimmy and Dink and Chris, go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Go love yourself.
And love
What they said.
And there's our ending.